I'm going to show you how to make a little pilgrim hat today. I just threw this one together really quickly and it was super easy, and I tried to find it online. I couldn't find any instructions because I'm not that creative, but this is my own little interpretation of a pilgrim hat. So I'm going to put this off to the side and show you how to get started. First thing, I absolutely love this little nesting set. My sister gave it to me, and it's made of plastic. They have them in metal, like at Smart and Final and your craft stores and probably your home goods stores or whatever, but they nest in here, and they're perfect. One side is scalloped, so like if you're doing carnations, you can pick out whatever size you want, and the other one's just the flat edge, and this is what we're using for the hat. So the one I used here is a second to the smallest. I just pulled it out, and here we have the flat edge. We're going to use this part. I took a piece of black gum paste and rolled it out to about 1/8 of an inch thick, and I'm going to just cut it like this. You can make it as thick as you want. It doesn't have to be exactly the way I'm doing it. Definitely do it in your own way. This is what works for me, and so I'm doing that. At this point, take it and go through and make sure the edges are smooth, because even though you have a pretty sharp cutter, it still might have a little jagged edge here and there. So make sure you do smooth that down. So the next step would be, I put it over here, take another piece of black gum paste and roll it into a cylinder shape and make one side a little bit thicker than the other, and taper the other end off so you have it like basically like this, where it's bigger down here and smaller up here. And then what we're going to do is flatten it out a little bit here. Okay, ideally it would probably be the same shape, but we're going to be smashing it down in a second anyway. And then what you would do is come back with your knife or your blade and cut the top off straight all the way through. And this part's kind of tricky because it will kind of get smushed up on you a little bit, and that's alright. Then you take it and smooth it out and go over the counter and smooth it out best you can. Okay, because this is going to be your base, and this is now going to be your top. And you have a flat top, which you kind of are going for anyway. So that's the easiest way I found to do this and make the flat edge here. Okay, so at this point we'll take it and see if we like the way it's going to sit. And if not, you can always just give it a pressing in both directions so it's equal, and roll it around a little bit in your fingers, go through, manipulate it all the way around so you don't have it too skinny in one spot or anything like that. You want it pretty uniform in the size and the shape of it. So you just give it a little press so the top is kind of tapered up here, but it still has a flat top to it. Okay, so now I'm going to put this aside, and the next step would be take a piece of brown gum paste, roll it out pretty long, and then you could take your pizza cutter or a knife or anything you have, and I would go about 1/4 of an inch thick, but it's totally up to you. Whatever you prefer, it would definitely work. Not a problem. So here we have, let me put this aside, we have the band. Now you can do this in any color you want. You don't necessarily have to do it in the brown. This is just what I elected to use. And make sure it fits all the way around. And of course this one's obviously going to fit, and it's going to be way too big, and that's okay. What we're going to do is just come back here, cut a little bit off. And hopefully I didn't cut too much off. No, I think I still need to cut some more, and that's okay. We'll just gently come down here like this. Okay, so now we have it to where it's going to fit. So at this point, you know, you're pretty happy with the shape, the size, and how it's coming along. So you would go ahead and take your gum glue and paint the base of this just a little bit and stick it on there. Find the center and stick it and hold it down for just a second. Alright, then you take your brown strip or whatever color you decided to go with. I don't think it really matters. And just glue it along the base. Okay, just like this. And if it overlaps a little bit, it's not a big deal because we're going to be putting that buckle on there in a second. So now we have this. Okay, looks great. So the next step would be take another little piece of black gum paste. Let me put this off to the side a little. Another little piece of black gum paste, and then take a small square cutter, anything you have, and try to make it the same thickness as the brim of the hat. That's what I think works best. But you can do whatever you want. It's no big deal. Now at this point you can use a knife, you can use scissors, you can use anything you have handy, a toothpick, anything. But a little trick I found that works really well is I have this number 12 tip, the round, and if you kind of try to eyeball it in the center and just cut it through, you're going to end up with a perfect little circle on the inside of your little square. And what you would do is just go through, and on each corner, I hope you guys could see what I'm doing, is just give it a little push. So you're boxing it out. You're turning the circle into a square shape, like this. Oh, look at okay. Alright, that's good. So as soon as you're kind of happy with the shape you have on the inside, you're gold. Which brings me to the next step, yellow gum paste. You take a little bit, you can actually break a piece off, form it in your hand, and that would work well. But what I'm going to do is just try to roll this out a little bit, and you're going to want it a little bit thick. I mean, not too thick, but definitely a little thick. And I'm just going to use this here. I mean, you could use that number 12 tip if you want, and then reshape it how you want it to be. But I found this is easier. I tried and tried, and I couldn't get it to fit perfectly in there. So doing it this way for me really seems to work well. So I'm just going to cut a square, and it looks like it's going to be big, but that's alright, because you'd rather have it too big than too small going in here. So you just kind of shape it down, and this is your back. Nobody's going to see that. So if it's a little bit beveled or rounded, it doesn't matter. It's going to make it more poofy looking anyway, and it's probably going to look nice. So then you take it and pop it in here to see if it'll be a good fit. And when you're happy with it, then you're good to go. So what I'm going to do, as soon as I can find my paintbrush, here it is, and give it a little glue on the inside here. And then take this little square that we just formed with the yellow gum paste, maybe shorten it a little bit more, because you can always go in there and flatten it out because it's pretty thick. And then we're going to put it in here, right in the center. And then go ahead and give it a push to flatten it. So now you have a buckle. Okay, so now you take your glue, and right here where the little ends meet on the brim, you go ahead and glue the little buckle down, secure it on there. Let's see if it'll hold up. There you go. Oops. Everything I do falls apart at first. Okay, so anyway, this gives you the basic idea and the structure on how to make a little pilgrim hat. Okay, so if you have any comments or questions, please feel free to put it right down below, because I'd love to hear from you guys. Take care.